Flashlights are one of the 6 survivor items in Dead by Daylight. They can be used both for blinding the killer and saving your teammates by performing flashlight saves, but they're also pretty old. Flashlights have been in the game for almost 8 years now, and with them being this old, it should come as no surprise that they have received quite a bit of changes throughout the years. From flashlight saves requiring literally no timing whatsoever, to flashlights being paired with background player in order to achieve absolutely crazy saves, in this video we're going to take a look at the complete evolution of flashlights in Dead by Daylight. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Flashlights were planned to be in the game from the very get-go. If we take a look at early in-game alpha footage, we can clearly see a type of flashlight being present in the game. However, this one right here is a strange blue rarity. Fun fact, this special rarity is called Spectral, and according to the DBD Wiki, it was supposed to be used for offerings, however it was never implemented. Nonetheless, when Dead by Daylight was officially released to the public on the 14th of June 2016, there was only one flashlight that players could use, the default yellow one, even though the 2 other flashlights could be found in the game files of DBD Beta. Now, because of the game's technical limitations at the time, the original flashlight had a very funny looking light beam, which kind of resembled a lightsaber. As for the gameplay aspects of flashlights, they were quite a bit different compared to today. For example, you could interrupt the hillbilly mid-chainsaw charge by blinding him with a flashlight, which I don't really know when that would ever come into play, but still. Additionally, survivors were able to actually stun and interrupt the killer while they were in the hooking animation just simply by blinding them. So essentially, survivors could just get a free flashlight save while the killer was hooking a survivor, since the blind would completely cancel the whole entire interaction. I wish I could show you guys a video of this, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find one. Thankfully though, this mechanic was removed during the 1.1.2 patch, only about 2 months after DBD's release, since it was pretty unfair. More importantly however, this update also added a total of 9 new survivor items and 13 more add-ons for them. Among them were the now commonplace sports flashlight and utility flashlight, as well as the intense halogen, long life battery, high-end sapphire lens and the infamous odd bulb. The 1.1.2 patch also implemented the light burn mechanic for the nurse, since prior to that it was only applied to the wraith. Alright, now you know how nowadays some flashlight add-ons include the line increases the brightness of the flashlight beam or something similar to that. Well, back in the day most of these add-ons didn't have that. Instead they either had increases the flashlight beam effects against the killer or increases the power of the flashlight beam. Well, it's a little unclear and hard to tell what these ambiguous descriptions actually meant, but what if I told you that these add-ons actually reduced the default blinding time of flashlights? The biggest offender of this was the odd bulb, which back then was also only purple rarity, meaning that players also had an easier time obtaining it. And so by pairing the odd bulb with another add-on, for example the intense halogen, that reduced blinding speeds, and the utility flashlight which also had that function, this was how the term insta-blind was coined. Long story short, this combo literally gave almost no time at all for killers to react to the fact that they were being blinded. Insta-blinds were in the game for quite a bit, until Matthew Cote played this infamous match on a live stream as the hack against 4 very good survivors. It would be an underestimation to say that Matthew got absolutely destroyed by insta-blinds. After this, the developers made a couple of changes relating to flashlight add-ons in order to try and remove insta-blinds from the game. First of all, they increased the rarity of the odd bulb from very rare to iridescent. However, this didn't really fix anything at all, as the problem wasn't how rare this add-on was, instead it was the fact that it even existed in the first place. So only one update later, all insta-blind add-ons were completely reworked to how they are today, and the utility flashlight was also nerfed to no longer reduce blinding speeds. The 1.8.3 update also nerfed the speed and strength of the light burn mechanic against the wraith, which would later become a regular occurrence for future updates. However, insta-blinds were not the only controversy that flashlights would find themselves in, as only a couple of months after the removal of insta-blinds, the developers released the 1.9.2 update, which basically completely removed the timing for flashlight saves. Essentially, it was made so that blinding the killer during any part of the pickup animation would let the animation play out fully and then stun the killer, so flashlight saves required virtually no skill whatsoever and were incredibly easy to perform. This change was so controversial and for good reason, and that's why it was reverted almost instantly, only 4 days after its original implementation. Now, we can't forget to mention that originally, when being blinded by a survivor as a killer, your whole screen would literally turn completely white, which many players complained about as it would not only blind you in-game, but also in real life up to a certain extent. Thankfully, this was later changed in patch 2.3.0 to how it is today. Now, over the years there have been multiple changes relating to flashlight save timings, which mostly had to do with the speed of the killer's pickup animation. However, we aren't going to go through all of these. More importantly, however, over time more and more different flashlight models were added to the game. For example, with the All Hallows Eve event, which was DBD's first ever Halloween event, the special Will-O-Wisp flashlight was introduced, which has a unique orange beam as well as a cute little ghost that appears when shining it. For Dead by Daylight's 4th anniversary, another new flashlight model was added, that being unsurprisingly the 4th year flashlight, which was later renamed to Anniversary Flashlight during the game's 5th anniversary. The special Masquerade flashlight was also implemented for DBD's 6th anniversary, and later returned for the 7th anniversary. Over time, several quality of life changes were also made to this item, including updating the aiming mechanics so that the beam is squarely in the center of the survivor screen, updating the flashlight VFX and animations, adding audio feedback when using it against the killer, and making it so that you can use your flashlight while crouched. All of these quality of life improvements were great, however there was something that was really getting on killers' nerves: flashlight clicking, especially when done in combination with a macro. Therefore, in the 6.3.0 update, in order to combat this, the developers reduced the clicking speed of flashlights and adjusted the sound effect to match their new speed. There was also a cooldown between switching a flashlight on and off repeatedly that was added in order to reduce strobing and the associated dangers regarding flash-induced seizures. But this wasn't the only killer buff, so to say, that was implemented during this time, since in the next patch, local flashlight saves were also completely removed from the game. To compensate for this, however, survivors also received a pretty nice buff. Added a 0.4 second buffer to the end of the picking up animation, where a flashlight blind will stun the killer. In a nutshell, this was the change from the 1.9.2 update, but in a much more balanced version. And honestly, it has eased getting flashlight saves pretty significantly, especially when paired with the perk background player. However, contrary to popular belief, this still wouldn't be the last time when flashlights got changed, as only a little bit before Dead by Daylight's 7th anniversary, the light burn mechanic, which affected many killers up to that point, was completely retired from the game. The Raid and the Nurse could no longer get burnt while using their powers, the Artist's Crows could no longer be removed with a flashlight, you could no longer blind the spirit out of her face, and could no longer destroy the Hack's phantasm traps by shining a flashlight at them. Funnily enough, however, for some reason Nemesis zombies are still affected by this item, and this is where flashlights stand today. Currently the only iridescent add-on for them is the Odd Bulb, which personally I don't even think should be iridescent anymore. It's pretty much only good when you pair it with the purple flashlight and the other bulb add-on, the broken one, in order to get the longest possible blinds in DBD, and other than that it's not really that good and is by far not the best flashlight add-on. So do you guys think the Odd Bulb should be lowered in rarity? Let me know down in the comments. Well, I guess that was it. This was the entire evolution of flashlights in Dead by Daylight. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then make sure to let me know by leaving a like, and also I would be glad if you considered subscribing as well. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!